Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video today, we are talking to Nebraska linebacker, I guess I should say former Nebraska linebacker, future NFL linebacker. He was just at the NFL Combine, and he's got a lot of really cool stuff going on off the field as well. It is JoJo Domann. JoJo, how you doing, man?
I'm good. Just finished up at the gym. Gonna head to snag some food right quick. I'm glad we could connect.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Me too. I definitely have a lot of questions for you revolving around the Senior Bowl, the Combine, all these other different types of things. But JoJo, I want to start off with this, right? The stuff that you've been doing off the field. You've got a lot going on. I really do mean that, man. You started this youth football program over there in Nebraska right as soon as the NCAA said stuff like that was allowed, essentially, which I thought was a really, really cool thing. Then after that, you were on a podcast for a little while, The Beat, where you were doing some stuff on there. And now, JoJo, you've actually got a YouTube channel going on. So this is, in my opinion, this is a YouTube collab right now. So, you got the Dominator going
Right.
on. You know what I mean? So you got the
Hell yeah.
you got the Dominator going on right now. A series that you've got going on over there is you're making a series about your journey to the NFL draft, right? And I want to talk about that series real quick. What made you want to do that series and really just do YouTube videos in general, going into the NFL?
Being a kid that went to all these football camps growing up, an opportunity to pay it forward and create an opportunity where, local Nebraska kids can come see, Nebraska players, which to them are like superheroes. But, just to create those personable relationships with them, it takes, the superheroes off the pedestal, so to speak, and just, because I was that kid at one time, and I wouldn't be here today if I wasn't poured into and invested in and told that I can do what they can do. So just paying that forward, which then led me to the podcast, which then led to me creating this YouTube series where it's really just a behind the scenes look on how I'm preparing in my journey for the NFL draft. And it's different than just probably any other person's, just because I'm going in depth into my mental, my physical, and my spiritual being of, what triggers this, what brings these type of emotions up, and just really bringing it into like putting you in my shoes, like feel what I feel, see what I see, and just share my story, because I feel like if just one person draws inspiration from my story, then I've been successful. So that's kind of like the whole gist behind it all.
Yeah, just looking at the series there on YouTube, and for everybody who's watching this interview, I will have a link to the first episode of the series on JoJo's channel down in the pinned comment, down in the comment section below. So go check that out. It's a really awesome series, JoJo, where, like you said, you give that really kind of behind the curtain type look, right, in showing, hey, this is what's going on, these are the things I'm going through, these are the emotions I'm going through, and I think it's a really cool in-depth look. So I can't wait to see more of that there on your channel.
Thank you.
But one thing that I heard you talk about in the past, you grew up, you wanted to play football since you were 4 years old, you went to high school at Colorado Springs. In high school you played receiver and I think a little bit of safety. Now, going into college, going into the NFL, you're playing linebacker. You played a little bit of outside linebacker, maybe some inside linebacker. What made you want to make that switch to playing linebacker in college and now in the NFL?
Well, yeah, like you mentioned, in high school, I played everything under the sun. Growing up, my dad didn't want to play daddy ball with me. So I played center, left tackle, D-line. Like I did everything.
Mm-hmm.
So then going into high school, I had a soccer background. So I did all our kicking, the punting, the kickoffs, and the PATs. So there were some times where I'd catch the touchdown from my brother and then kick the PAT, and I'm accounting for all 7 points put up on the board. So that looking back on that time, is crazy to me, because I really was just playing and was just being like the best version of myself. And then I go to Nebraska and I got offered to play some receiver and go both ways at Colorado. But when it came to the intangibles and maybe what I could develop into, defensive side of the ball seemed to be more my style, because I'm a fierce competitor. I almost hate to lose more than I love winning. And my anticipation for the ball showed in every sport I ever played. So then to move the defense, it kind of became natural. Like, yo, if you're playing receiver, a 4-4 guy might come in and take a job, and it don't matter how much better you are at them. Defense, it's more 1-2. So that's kind of what went into that. And then when I'm moving from safety to linebacker, once Frost staff came in, they made it clear that I was going to play outside backer. And then that position actually morphed during my time there to better fit my mold and my skill set by my senior year.
I got you, man. That's awesome. That's awesome. And yeah, so it was definitely, I mean, of course, obviously growing up, right, kids play all those different types of positions. You like you said, you play a little bit of everything, so that is interesting to see how, like you said, receivers, sometimes receivers can come a dime a dozen, all these different types of things, so many guys want to play receiver and all these other different types of things. But like you said, it takes kind of a different breed to play that linebacker spot, right, in terms of all these other different types of intangibles and mental fortitude and all that stuff, like you said, man. So, one thing that did happen because of that move to linebacker, like you said, was you actually won the Tom Novak Award, right? And I actually saw the speech that you gave, which I thought was really cool. And in that speech, you mentioned your mom, your dad, Craig, who I believe is an agent, right, for NFL players and college players and whatnot.
Yep.
You also mentioned your sister Riley. You mentioned your brother Brock, who you mentioned just a minute ago, as people who have inspired you, when you were giving that speech for the Tom Novak Award. Talk a little bit about your family, how big of an influence they were on you and your football career growing up. And also, what was it like to win that Tom Novak Award?
My family is my everything. My mom always preached to us, there's room for more than one successful person in this family. And I mean, there's a bunch of, we're all lions energetically, meaning like we're all like want to be in control and we all want to lead. Well, you can't have 5 leaders, in the same room trying to accomplish the same mission. Right. So we've learned a lot about ourselves and about each other, just through that process and that dynamic. And to have them, like my sister always let me know that I was more than a football player. My mom always supported me and in my dreams, whatever it was. My dad always created opportunities for me to be successful. And my brother always competed with me and helped push me and was almost like, that other half of me doing it with me. So I could talk for hours about how my family's helped me get to where I'm at. And honestly, I just want to be the best version of myself for them, for me and for them. So we can just, I don't know, it's so much deeper than football for me.
Yeah. I always think it's important to talk about that kind of stuff. Cause like you said, like it sounds like you're getting different types of inspiration from every single member of your family, like every single member of your family is adding something to make this big, piece of who you are as a person, who you are as a football player, And I always love talking about that stuff because it's sometimes that kind of stuff doesn't always come out in, those types of conversations with, social media platforms and whatnot. That's why I think it's so huge that, Riley, Brock, Craig, your dad, your mom, like all these people are coming together and are able to add something different that makes you who you are today, man. So I think that's awesome. I really do. Like you said, it is one of those things that you could talk about for hours,
Yeah, no doubt.
It really is. Hey, future interviews here on the channel, man, we can dive into that later, in deeper depth. But, I want to go ahead and switch gears a little bit. This is a little bit of a cliche question. I'm sure you've been asked this before, but going from college to the NFL, and, even in college too, right? Because there's a lot of great players on those Nebraska football teams. Who were some people that you studied in terms of game tape, game film, that you really want to mold your game after in terms of playing linebacker?
In terms of playing linebacker, I mean, somebody I've studied since high school was Tyrann Mathieu.
Okay.
And just how he's a ball hawk, how it's all about the ball, and how he makes those game-changing plays in those big-time moments. And then when it came to more linebacker, when it comes to Fred Warner, Levante David, you know, those two dudes are just, incredible in coverage on top of, obviously get it done in the run fit. So yeah, I'm a big, obviously, football fan, and I learned something from, I feel like, every player. And I used to watch NFL games like, man, like that's crazy that they did that. And now I'm looking at it like, man, he did that wrong. Like, why didn't he do this to make that play, or what could he have done better there? So yeah, just the culmination of all the film I watched over the years of playing ball is definitely starting to make a big difference.
Which it changes your perspective, right? Because, like you said, you go from like, this is so incredible, to now you've got to think more critically about it. Now you've got to say, okay, well, he did this on this play, and okay, he shouldn't have done this. If I do something like this, I'll do it this way. And you got to obviously like break it down more, right? And
Yep.
that's interesting. That so Tyrann Mathieu, in terms of, obviously he plays safety, like slot corner, a little bit of linebacker type hybrid. Is that kind of how you view yourself going into the draft, as more of like a hybrid player then? Because I know, you've talked about playing outside linebacker, inside linebacker and whatnot. Is that kind of how you view yourself then, as more of like a hybrid player?
I do view myself as a hybrid because I understand when I come into the league, I'm going to start on all four teams and then have to learn different positions. So I'm not going to just specialize in one position and put me in that box. That's just not who I've ever been as a football player. So just kind of knowing that about myself gives me an advantage to where, like, yo, I just have to be versatile. I have to be able to learn all different positions. I have to understand football at its core and the essence of it. And also, right, just have the coachability to learn new positions and then be able to go do it and have the confidence to just go do it on command. So that's how I've been preparing, and that's what I'm expecting at that next level.
Yeah, because I think, obviously in today's NFL on defenses, guys have to be versatile, play 3, 4 different positions nowadays, and depending on, what the defense calls for and whatnot. So again, I think that's huge, man, to add versatility and to be as versatile as you can be on the defensive side of the football, special teams, wherever it may be. So that's huge, man. That's huge. But one thing I was paying attention to whenever I was watching some of your vlogging series is you went to the Senior Bowl, right? I believe you played in the Senior Bowl, finished with 3 tackles, I think, in the game. Talk about that experience, because I know, like, obviously, I've heard other players talk about the Senior Bowl being an incredibly hectic kind of deal. I know one player said at the Combine that the Combine was a little bit more relaxed than the Senior Bowl, just because the Senior Bowl, there's so much stuff going on. You got to learn this playbook really quick. You got to figure out how to work with this coaching staff and all these other different types of things. Talk about that Senior Bowl. How was that experience? And what was it as hectic as some people may have said it was?
No, it definitely was as hectic.
Okay.
I mean, for me, I was learning a new position. I was learning a new position against the best competition in the country. And it was just like, that transition was tough. Like, I can't even lie. Like, I just told you, like, that's what I'm meant to do. And it is, but it doesn't mediate how difficult it actually was. So, and then all like the psychological tests and the lack of sleep, and the Combine was like a lot like that. The psychological test, always something to do. I got 4 hours of sleep the first 2 nights at the Combine and only got like 5-6 hours at the Senior Bowl. So it was, yeah, I don't take anything away from what those guys said. Like, it was tough. And I think it was meant to break you down, like, mentally and physically, and see how you perform under pressure. How do you take care of yourself? Because if we don't take care of ourselves all week amidst all of the stuff that we're doing, like, we're not going to be able to perform up to our abilities when it comes to that time. So yeah, it was definitely a test. Like, I'm glad I did it. I wouldn't necessarily do it again,
Right.
but yeah, honestly, there's so many glamorous aspects of it, but my whole thing going from the Senior Bowl to the Combine was, can I find joy in those little things? In being at the hospital for 10 hours, am I going to lose my cool?
Mm-hmm.
Am I going to get pissed? Or am I going to just, find joy in the little things? Shit, I'm at the Combine, everyone has to go through this. I'm not special. Like, I'm not the only one that's hurting here. And
Right.
then just kind of like letting it pass. Um, so yeah.
Well, so it almost sounds like, and obviously, it sounds like it's one of those like military boot camp training things, where you go in there and they just really break you down and lay down the hammer. Is that kind of like a good comparison where it's like you just went in and it was kind of just like a whirlwind type of situation?
Yes, the only thing is, instead of like the military where they're like put you in your place,
Right.
it's more like they like lift you up on a pedestal,
Okay.
but then they still have all this like stuff that you have to do.
Right, right, right. So like it was a situation where they said, okay, hey, you're not going to get a lot of sleep. You're going to do all these workouts. You're going to learn all these different types of things. But then also, hey, this is a really big deal. You should be really happy about this. Not everybody can go to
Yeah.
this. That's how did that affect you mentally then? Like you said, because like that's gotta be like the weirdest, like mind twisting thing, or a very weird type of situation to be in.
It was weird.
Yeah.
It was weird. And I think, you know, you just got to adapt
Yeah.
is basically how I looked at it. Was, I mean, I can't lie to you. Like I thought those thoughts of like, man, this BS.
Yeah.
But you got to replace those thoughts with like, bro, I'm happy to be here. Where else would I rather be?
Right.
Would I rather not be at the NFL Combine right now? Would I rather not be at the Senior Bowl? So just replacing those, negative thoughts with positive ones.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I mean, I don't always succeed, but that's what I'm always striving to do.
Yeah. And actually, I do want to ask you about the combine because, you talked about it in your latest vlog, going to the combine, the medical process. I was shocked when you were talking about that medical process. You said, hey, 10 hours. I didn't know they sent you guys to a hospital to get MRIs, x-rays done. I thought it was like, smaller local facilities, but no, 10 hours. That's just the first part I want to talk about. 10 hours of getting, was it all x-rays and MRIs and medical checkups and whatnot? Like, what was done in all those 10 hours?
Body composition.
Okay.
I had like 3 x-rays and 2 MRIs. That was it. But there was, what is there, 60 some D linemen, 40 some linebackers.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, when I got there day one, I was talking to my boy Peyton Hendershot from Indiana, and he was already there.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked like a ghost. I'm like, bro, like, you good? And he was like, just wait till you got hospital day. Because I was like, damn. And then it came, and it wasn't like that for everyone. I left the hospital to get food and came back and then was there for 3 more hours. It wasn't 10 hours for everybody, but it was anywhere from like at least 6 to about 10.
So was a lot of it just like waiting then, I imagine, right? Were they like pulling like, hey, JoJo, you come in and do this. Okay, now wait here for a couple of hours while we go do the same procedure with all the other guys, and then you all move on as a group to the next part?
Yeah, I mean, they were just understaffed relative to the amount of guys that we had, and supposed to be blocked off. And I think the linebackers went like a couple hours early.
Okay.
Which then screwed the D linemen that went before us and screwed us because we were waiting on each other.
Right.
So I don't know if that was I think that was on accident, but it was just interesting. And then the other thing I talked about was like the actual medical with the team doctors.
Yes.
I had an orthopedic doctor that's entrusted by the whole NFL to like come check up on me. Really great dude, but was just going through my whole medical history, which for me is a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then creates like a little report, and then takes us in front of like 5 rooms full of about 6 teams each.
Mm-hmm.
And every room you went into, he'd give the whole report. You sit on like a athletic training table in front of 6 teams, like, 20 plus people, and they're all taking notes. They're speaking in their recorders, like they're all recording everything he's saying. And then for me specifically, they'd come up and they'd give me like the locksmith test.
Okay.
on my knee, which is like an ACL
Yeah.
test.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and I didn't expect it. And after the first people did it, I like go out in the hallway. I'm like, yo, did they come up and touch y'all? And they're like, no, did they do that to you? And I was like, yeah. And I realized like I wasn't the only one, but I was one of the few guys where they wanted to get their hands on my body, and see for themselves
Like,
which was like which was crazy in the moment, but I could see why they'd want to do that.
so they were testing out the knee essentially and being like, "Hey, JoJo, how's the knee?" And then they just kind of, are tapping your knee and checking how it is structurally and everything.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't realize that it was, when I heard you talking about the 6 teams, I thought it was just one person from each team. But
Oh no.
but it was like 4 or 5 people from each team.
Right.
Wow. Okay. And it was just, so it was almost like a press conference type thing where you're sitting on a table in front of 20 people, the doctor's saying these things with the report, and then they're taking notes, they're recording everything, they're asking questions to you or to the doctor who had the report.
Both.
So, and I know you talked about how that was a roller coaster of emotions. Like,
Yes.
how the heck was that, like, mentally? Was it just like, what the heck's going on here? Like, I just spent 10 hours doing all this stuff, and now so was that a part of the 10 hours, or was that separate?
That was the next day.
So,
And it absolutely was an emotional roller coaster, like I talk about on my series, which I can better articulate now. It's like, because our memories are stored in our body, like anytime like you're talking about my knees, it has the ability to take like that memory is activated in that part of my body, and now I'm feeling those emotions that I felt during my time rehabbing from my ACL. And like I say in my video, like some of those emotions are like extremely positive, inspirational. Like I overcame that. I did that. I overcame that. That helped me find myself. That helped me, lean on the people in my life. Every positive ripple effect from that event in my life. But it also has the ability to, activate those negative memories, which were, the worthlessness, the doubt, and not knowing if this is for me. So I'm just going from room to room, and like I'm almost just like along for this emotional ride where I'm just getting paraded from room to room. They're talking about me, and in one moment, like inside, like I'm up here, and the next moment I just felt my energy just dip. And it was just interesting, because it's like, how do I handle those? And like here I am, like 3-4 years removed from those situations, and I'm still feeling this way. And it just opened the door to more investigation for me, and how I can better understand myself and love myself through those, tough parts of my life.
yeah.
So
Yeah, no, I remember
yeah.
when I heard you talking about it on the vlog, like it's reawakening those memories, those feelings, like you said. That's got to be tough. Like you're sitting there going, okay, I got through this injury. That's awesome. I felt great about that. I was happy I was able to overcome that injury and, felt great. But then, like you said, like for like more major injuries, that's a situation where like, man, that sucked. That really sucked to go through that. And yeah, that was really interesting to hear you say that, because again, that's something that you don't really hear talked about a lot, is that emotional roller coaster that you guys go through, going through that medical process. And like you said, they kind of put you up on that pedestal there in that medical process, and then they're kind of chopping away at all these injuries and saying, hey, what happened here, and you're like, man, like this is a lot to take in 2 days. Right. JoJo, 2 days you did all of that. That's just. And then, sorry, go ahead.
And then the next day at 8 p.m., I had to perform on national television, after a full week of that, like, basically laying around, like going through the process, and then needing to perform at your highest level at 8 p.m. at night. It was challenging.
Yeah.
No doubt.
I know they changed the times of the workouts this year. I saw it. I was actually at the combine for a couple of days. And I know I saw a lot of you guys working out in the in the convention
In the
center.
hotel. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the hotel, in the convention center, it was like, man, this is nuts. You guys are running like,
At 11 o'clock at night.
yeah, you guys are running practice 40s just like in the convention center or in the hotel. Like, was that a weird experience? Was that a first for you just in terms of getting ready for a workout like that?
It was, yeah, the first time it was a little funny, but it's kind of like, yo, we got to do it. Like, I just had a full day from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
and now I have to go do my dynamic warm up and get some starts in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And,
Ugh.
and the medical stuff, the teams meeting with you, the workouts too, that's not even including the team meetings, right? Like, that is also another big thing that, happens there at those combines, not just on the medical side, but then teams are asking you other questions like, hey, what do you think about this? This is what we envision you playing. Talk about those meetings. How was that process? How did that work for you? Which teams did you meet with? And yeah, just explain that entire process, man.
Yeah, I guess they block out like 4 hours a time. So it was like from 7 to 11 one day, and then it was in the morning the next day. But
Okay.
it's like speed dating basically.
Mhm.
And scouts come and grab you. They check your number and ask you your name and then grab you. And then they talk with you. And you're talking with special teams coordinators, GAs, scouts, position coaches, and they're just trying to get to know you, trying to see how you learn best and how, just how do y'all click? Like, what's his energy? I'm assuming they're just looking for everything and anything. And yeah, sometimes like they'd ask you some questions on their scheme, ask you some personal questions, and then come back to see if you could remember their scheme.
Okay.
They'll have you teach you their defense. They'll teach you their defense, then have you teach it back to them. They'll watch game film with you. So it's really unpredictable. And I think it varies depending on the guy. And yeah, it's kind of nuts. After you get tired after about 3 hours, but you definitely get that adrenaline because you're just going from one team to the next to the next.
Yeah, how did that kind of work? Would it kind of be a situation where it's like 15 minutes? How long was the average meeting?
Like 12 minutes.
Okay, so then was it a situation where it'd be like, okay, JoJo, you're meeting with this team for 12 minutes, and then you immediately leave that meeting and then go to the next meeting?
Yes.
So that's just more of... I'm sorry, go ahead.
But a different person's grabbing you. Like, it's not like set up like, yo, I'm this team, this team, this team. It's just this team's next. And then there's usually just someone ready to snag you and walk you to their table.
Okay, so it's not even necessarily like a schedule type thing. It was just a situation of, hey, you're meeting with this team right now, and then you don't know the next team you're meeting with.
Right. You free? Oh, no, I'm meeting with somebody. Oh, we're going to come grab you after that. Okay, cool. Or, yeah, I'm free. Oh, come with us. We want to have you talk to this person.
Oh, okay. That is nuts. That is nuts. So... so it's just more of that whirlwind type of mentality, right?
Yeah.
So kind of speak on it real quick. Like, what were some of those teams that you did meet with?
I met with like 25 teams.
It's obviously that'd be tough to get the specifics. Then, did you meet with the Bucs?
Right. Did I meet with the Bucs at the combine?
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe I did. I did at the Senior Bowl.
Okay. And meeting with those teams, did they view you more as like a hybrid guy? Like, hey, we kind of view you playing as a little bit of linebacker, a little bit of safety, all these other different types of things?
They mostly asked me like, yo, what do you see yourself playing? What do you think you can play? Or they come on with like, yeah, you're a will linebacker in our system.
Mm-hmm.
So
it was,
yeah, I think I really just want to go to a team that believes in me and wants to get the most out of me and understands that my best football is ahead of me and has a winning culture. So
yeah,
that's all really I'm looking for. That's all I'm looking for.
Did they ask you any, because I know it's like kind of a meme, right? Where it's like, sometimes the guys get asked weird questions, some of the players. Did anybody ask you or have you do any like specific, like, that's a weird question, or like, you want me to do that type of thing?
No.
Okay.
I didn't catch any of that. that
Okay.
energy, no.
But you do know what I'm talking about, where it's like that's kind of a notorious thing where it's like, they have you shoot. I know one of the stories at the combine
They
was
had
like,
Sam. They
mm-hmm,
had Sam shoot baskets.
yeah. So that's interesting though. I wonder. Yeah, that's nuts. I guess it's a kind of a good thing in a way, right? Because that can completely catch you off guard in terms of just
Right.
asking a super out there question. But I got two more things for you, JoJo. So I know you said after the combine you were gonna go to Florida. Are you there now?
I am.
Okay, gotcha. So you're here in Florida now. Then after that, you're going to Colorado. Then you're going back to Lincoln, Nebraska for the pro day. Talk about the next steps after the combine. What does that mean for you? Like, what are you going to be doing until the NFL draft? Like workouts? Is there, more meetings? What kind of is going to be the main focus now leading up to the draft?
Yeah, it's really just so kill this pro day and then get my body back. Probably take a week off.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously I'm still training, but just enjoying myself a little more, and then getting back to just football specific work, where I'm working with my guy down here on block shedding, working on my DB technique work, balls drills, watching more film, and then once I get drafted, get that playbook and dive right in.
I gotcha. And then the last thing I want to ask you, JoJo, is this, and I asked this for a lot of guys, going into the NFL, that next step from college to the NFL, what should teams expect from JoJo Domann in the future?
Oh, I mean, a winner, someone who's going to compete always, and someone who makes that defining play when it needs to be made. And somebody who's going to plant roots in this community and is going to continue to just love people and to pave the way forward. So yeah, I absolutely love football with everything I got, but I'm a football player. That's not who I am. It's what I do. And I'm excited to also expand on that, in this next phase of my life out of Nebraska. Kind of have a steady job, not necessarily steady, but I have a job and I'm able to also grow in that aspect of myself. So this next phase of my life, man, is all gas, no brakes, full steam ahead. So I'm really excited for it.
And JoJo, just from my perspective, man, I can tell you're going to be a guy who's going to be invested in the community. You're going to be a guy who's going to give it his all, right? As a player, as just a human being. And I think that's awesome. I think that's amazing. I can't wait to see what you do here at the next level going into the NFL. I think it's going to be amazing. I really do, man. And I can't wait to see what you're going to do. Yeah, man, I can't wait to watch the rest of the YouTube series. I really can't wait for that either, man. I think that's going to be awesome. So, folks.
Yes, follow me on Instagram at JoJo Domann. Follow me on Twitter at the Dominator. I'll be pushing all my social media out through those, and you can't miss those episodes at the Dominator on YouTube because I'll be feeding them through those channels.
Absolutely. So folks, I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. JoJo, I want to thank you for being on. It is greatly appreciated. Let us know your thoughts and opinions about everything we talked about down in the comment section below. Go check out JoJo's YouTube channel. That'll also be down in the pinned comment along with his Instagram and his other social medias. And yeah, really excited to watch the rest of your journey here, JoJo. And it's going to be awesome, man. It's going to be a fun ride. So,
thank you, sir.
Of course, man, of course. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope y'all enjoyed, and we will see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs. See you guys soon.